Welcome to my Jinx tutorial. Here is what the final look will look like. I'm going to show you how I did this, what colors I used, and I do say use cool tones, but I ended up not having enough of them and they didn't show up on camera well, so I did do it with warm tones, just an FYI. Okay guys, hi. Oh, I'm so excited to do this today. Okay, so first things first, make sure your skin is clean. We never do makeup under your skin. No. Okay, next, what you're gonna do, I'm gonna show you this step kind of for the sake of you can do any character in Arcane with this. Even though we're in specifically doing Jinx today, I just felt like doing her because I feel like it's the best example I could get of it, if that makes sense. So, I don't know how well this is gonna show up on camera, but here is, the ring light is not helpful, kind of my character study breakdown right here. So I'll put that right there so we can see it better. So what I did is I kind of just took one of the references from the show of her face in a decent lighting and kind of mapped it out with 4 different colors to kind of signify more the geometric shapes that are found on her face. And it's really important, whichever character you do, to make sure you look at them at different angles to see which shadows are really staying and which are going away as they move, especially in different lighting. That's going to help you with this. And now our biggest thing today, no over blending. As someone who likes to blend, I know it's difficult, but we'll get through it. Okay, so first things first, I want you to start with one of your lightest colors of foundation. And if you have a foundation that's cool undertone, that's going to be even better. Because a lot of the tones that are used on Jinx are cool tones. So that's going to kind of help you give the same effect. But make sure that your foundation that you're using is not lighter than your lightest shade of concealer. See, they look really close together, but when they're put on, this one is definitely wider. So make sure that you have another color that's going to be lighter than that first. As you can see, we're like really getting in there. We want this to be as much as one color as possible because we're wanting to make our own shadows and our own shapes. So it's really important to get a full coverage foundation for this step to really give yourself a clean slate. And like around my eyes, I went over my eyebrows as well, like everything. We want to make it as even as possible to start. Now I'm going to end up actually doing all my contour with eyeshadow. So I'm going to set this now because I'm not going to use any more cream colors and I just don't want this to lift while we're building up. Even though we're going to add concealer on top, I just really want this layer to stay. And we're going to try the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. I haven't tried it yet. I've been very attached to my airspun, but it's finally met its demise, so we're gonna give this a go. And I'm just really gonna set any of the spots that like are heavy on acne right now, just to make sure that like those are really covered up, as well as like anywhere under my eyes, because like we're gonna be putting a lot of product around there, and we really don't want it lifting up and getting like super messy as we go. So we're just gonna take some of this and just go right under there. Okay, so today we're gonna start with the eyes, and I'm gonna use this palette. This is the e.l.f. palette by Makeup Revolution, and I'm just going for this one that has all these wonderful shades of brown in it. And remember, we never want to start with the dark colors because it's harder to get rid of dark than it is to get rid of lighter colors. So even if we're going in a section that's going to eventually have darker tones, we want to start with a lighter tone, and it's going to make it so much easier to blend out in the end. Okay, so I know I have an insane amount of colors in this palette. So again, we're going to want to stick with our cool tones. So first, I'm going to do any of my mapping out, which this is a little bit warmer, but with this one, because it's darker than my skin tone, but it's not dark enough where if you're on camera where it's gonna like really throw off the whole thing. So first I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on my brush, and I'm just gonna tap it off. And now when we're looking at a reference picture of Jinx's face, we know that those shadows also go all the way up here to start. So first I'm just gonna start kind of working the nose contour, but also this is gonna connect into our eye look, because those shadows continue under the brow. So again, we're just going to take that color And we're really just gonna kind of go up here and just start building up that shadow, because it's gonna give us a line of kind of where our colors need to be for her eyes. And we also can see a lot of the times, depending on which angle she's looking at, her eyes are almost kind of hooded from some angles looking. So we also want to create shadows that are going to give us that more round effect rather than like space in between here. So now that I've kind of done that contour and I like where it is, I'm actually going to go in with this more of a purple based brown here, because that's on the cooler side, where compared to the one we just put down is on the pinker side. And I'm just going kind of right back over where that was and kind of just building that color up. And don't mind if it looks a little muddy right now, because we still have that dark color to go in. So don't worry about it now looking crazy, because we can always cut more concealer right here to make that line more distinct as we continue building up colors. Next, I'm going to go in with this, like, again, darker purplish base brown and tap, tap, tap. And now this is where we start really getting that color, really building it up. This is giving us a base for like where our eye makeup needs to sit. And I'm really just building that color in there, creating this harsh contour. But don't worry if it goes down too far, we can always cut it with concealer after. Now that that color's built up, I'm going to take this smaller, as you can see in comparison, this smaller brush, and we're going to go in with our deep, deep brown right here. Again, tap some on the brush, tap it off, and these dark colors are really going to be like where those harsh contours are. And so we're just building that right along the edge here. And again, don't worry if it moves too far in, we can always put concealer after. So I'm just going to push those hard down. And we're just using this to really create where that line is going to be. And then we can use our fluffy brush and kind of blend it out afterwards. Okay, now that that's down, which it's not quite finished, but it's enough for us to get the baseline. Now I'm actually going to go back in with that light brown that we had earlier. Again, tap it off. And I'm just going kind of around the lid to prep for our really dark colors, because she's got a lot of dark colors around her eyes. And even though we want this to look very geometric, in the end, we still want those transition colors so that, you know, we don't look fully like we just slapped it on. So as you can see, it's all prepped. Then I'm actually going to go straight in with our darker color and get that on this fluffy brush. And always start on the outside of your eye, because that's where you want the darkest of the colors to be. And we're going to go in a circular motion. And I'm just gonna, let me pick up my mirror, bring that to the inside and follow right on the lash line. And I'm gonna take that same color and I'm really just gonna pack it in to like certain spots in the eye, because we're trying to add that like colored in animated texture, but really make sure it stays close to your lash line as well. We're just really pushing that color down. You see we're starting to get it. Now I'm going to take that same smaller brush that we had, and I'm just going right under our bottom lash line with this brown first. And this is our darker brown again, like that really dark color that we were using at first. And we're even actually going to enhance this brown a little more with some black after we get our major color down. So now that I have that color in, we're going to take our smaller brush again, and we're going to go in with a black, and we're just going to kind of enhance some of that color, especially around like where we would normally put eyeliner. But eyeliner, in this case, especially a liquid one, is going to be a little bit too intense for the effect that we want, but you can totally use it if that's the look you want to go for. Okay, now before we finish the eyes, we're going to actually go back to the nose contour, and we're going to take what's left on this brush, this one that we have, the puffy one, and we're going to start dragging that nose contour down, because again, we're trying to make all of those shapes. We're going to do that on both sides. Now I'm going to take my purplish color, go back in with our fluffy brush, tap, 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 and we're just going to kind of do the bottom of the nose too, just to start like really building those shapes. You see, I'm just kind of creating that shape, and if we look, we can see there's actually a shadow that goes across right here that creates some more of that dimension. So I'm just going to drag that across the nose. And we're going to go back in with a concealer and really brighten up those bright areas. But for now, I'm just cutting across with that color. And then we actually use that same color. And there is a little shadow that goes between her brows after the bridge. So we're just gonna kind of go up there with that just a little bit. Just kind of add that shadow in. And see, it's giving her nose even more dimension than we already had. And then we're gonna get our small brush, go in with our dark color again. Tap, tap, tap. And we're just gonna really define some of those harsher lines that are on the nose. Her nose is tiny, so we want to drag those shadows downwards, especially if you have like a rounder face like mine. Then I'm actually going to take some more of that purplish brown, and I'm just going to go like right on my nostrils, like right on top. Because if you look at her nose, like the whole bottom of it is like a shadow in most angles. Like there's a lot of harsher shadows towards the bottom, so I'm really just going to commit to that. And now that we kind of have all our cutouts, I'm going back in with our small brush in a really dark color that we had, and I'm going to create some of those distinct shapes that are coming out from her eye. So we're just going to kind of push and drag. Now you might have to do this a few times to really get the level of pigment you're looking for, but again, we're really trying to keep more of those harsh shapes as well. And see, we're kind of getting there. And again, like, you can add what you feel you need to create that real geometric effect there. Now it's time to really build up these shadows. So again, taking our darkest color that we've been using and really just pushing and creating that shape. And now these don't have to be smooth. Remember, we want to leave some of the lines to actually create that illusion that it's more of a drawing than it is a blended look. I'm going to take some of my black, and I'm actually going to go over here, because if we look at a few different photos, we see some shadows that are actually in here, and I'm just going to use that to kind of create more of that shape right in our lighter area before we go in and do our bright concealer to kind of brighten that up. Here's where a concealer comes in. You're gonna want to get like a stiff brush, a small brush. Just gonna put a little bit on the ends, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right in here and just kind of create that, and then I'm just gonna use my finger to kind of blend that out, because again, we don't need it to be super blended or anything. So see, now we have that real contrast going on. Okay, so the camera may have died, and I did a little bit of concealer. All I did was put the concealer here and here and add some freckles, which I need to make those darker. But here's our up close view so far. Next, I'm gonna do the eyebrows. And I'm gonna take, again, another stiffer brush. I'm gonna take a little eyebrow brush. And first, I'm just gonna brush my eyebrows up. I'm just gonna go and just kind of fill in there, but make my mark of right there. And I'm kind of just gonna go along the bottom of my natural brow, honestly, and I'm just kind of adding color in. I'm not trying to do anything drastic yet, and I'm just using a black eyeshadow. And as far as the shape goes, I'm just gonna emphasize this point just a little bit and then bring straight down. So it's just gonna kind of go straight up, down. Okay, now I'm gonna do the other one as well as finish filling that in. There we go. Now we have the eyebrows. It's really starting to come together now. Now we've kind of graduated past our trust the process. So anything that's kind of like looking weird that isn't fully connected, just bring that all the way up. And I'm actually gonna take our puffy brush again and go in with I'll pick up this palette, any type of like skin tone, because if we look under her brows, a lot of her shadows sit lower on the eye rather than directly under it. I'm just gonna kind of lighten up that corner there without going in as intensely as we would with like a concealer to add that color. And then I'm just gonna take another one of our smaller ones and just kind of blend our darker shades up a little more, just to kind of keep that darkness on our inner eye over here where most of our shadows are gonna fall. So now on to the rest of the face as far as contouring goes. So Jinx's face, obviously I have like a very round face, so I'm gonna contour here down to here, and I'm gonna put a little contour on the chin here as well. So first things first, I do have this Mayron like pressed powder palette that I'm gonna start with, and we're gonna see if it works. Even though this is like a peachy toned, I think I'm gonna start with that and see how that looks for the sake of mapping out our colors. So first I'm just going to kind of go right here to create our first color. And then I'm actually going to go above my jawbone a little bit because again, we're trying to make my face more narrow than it is. And I'm just going to pull that all the way in a direct line down to my chin. Kind of have space here and we're just pulling all the way down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And that's going to be our initial baseline to follow with all our colors. So even though Jinx's face is narrower than mine, hers is still kind of rounded in here. So I'm also going to take this color and I'm just going to go the back, leaving this spot blank to kind of create an illusion that my face is like still round but narrower than it really is. And again, we're using that same light powder to just kind of get that same look. Now next, instead of using our big round brush like we were using to put down our base color, I'm going to go in for the darker brown, and I'm actually going to kind of follow the same steps, but I'm going to focus on not blending it as much. So we're just kind of following the top of that color up here in specific. We're not necessarily blending it out. We're just kind of adding that color there. Because again, we're creating more shapes. And so while you're blending and creating that shape, add more color. Make sure that line stays distinct. See how we've moved away from the blended and now we're getting sharper? And now we're going in with that same dark. And we're going to start really building those shapes, especially around the chin that has the more distinct shapes. And don't forget, we still have access to our concealer that we can use to really outline those after. And then I'm going under the lips as well because she has a very distinct shape of her chin. So I'm just going to kind of create that again. So I'm just going right under here, and then with our dark color, really pushing that color in there to create that distinction. Now that we've done our contour, we're actually going to add concealer right there because she does have visible cheeks, and leading up to the nose is very bright in almost every angle. So we're just going to kind of prep all that area and just kind of create an illusion, and we're going right on that line too. Don't be afraid to get right there, but we're just trying to brighten up the area. And then finally, to create that really harsh jaw contour, we're going back in with our darkest shade of brown that we had earlier for a lot of our stuff, and we're gonna start here and we're just gonna go up and pull down as we try and create that shape. So see, we're kind of creating the shape that her face has with our darkest color, and then just pull it down under the neck. You can use this color to contour all the way around your jaw, just like that. Now as far as lips go, I do not have the colors I need. I'm gonna put concealer on them and then just eyeshadow over it. Get lipstick if you're going out anywhere, but if you're just doing it for a photo shoot or for a TikTok, whatever, I'm actually gonna use this purple color as my base to start. And again, small brush, because I feel like that's the closest color I think I have. And I'm kind of going for the top based on my own lip shape. And then as far as the bottom ones go, I think I'm just going to cut it right there to kind of leave a highlight around the lips. Okay, let me fill this in and then I'll come back. So there we got the base color. And now I'm actually just going to go in with the black and tap it like twice. And I'm just going to kind of go where there's natural shadows and just kind of tap that color in just to add some more dimension, because we don't want the lips to look flat if everything else has like shading, you know? And we're also just gonna kind of go around if we were lining our lips. But so see, we've kind of added more color. And then I'm actually gonna take a shimmer. We're gonna use my dark purple I have here, sparkly, see? I'm going to use that same brush I just had, and I'm actually just going to tap a little on certain spots to kind of give a brighter effect to those areas. And then I'm just going to take this brush and I'm just going to do our last little fine details of kind of like the veining situation that goes on around her eyes at one point. And I'm just kind of freehanding, you know, that just adds again more dimension to our character. And this is where you want to be very, very light. You don't want to make these lines very heavy. You can use a black or you can use a blue or green. I would say probably a blue in this case. would fit better than a green. So once you're done with those, I'm also just gonna kind of emphasize where her eyes crinkle on each side, make that obvious, and then as well as our mouth right here. And that's very, very small black line. That's it. Now you don't really need mascara, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Now I don't have a wig, but I will do my hair. So I'm gonna go do it. Done! Is my hair gonna be stained blue? Most likely, because this is face paint. So here's the finished makeup. And honestly, I think it came out pretty close to the art style. I'm happy with it. I could have done more here, but the point was the face. You get it. And then everything else, like the tattoos and stuff, like, it's just solid paint. You'll be good. Anyway, I hope this was really helpful, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Let me know what you think of the new season down below, and any other characters you would like to see, or any other tips and tricks. Bye guys!